Alright folks, we're going to switch gears on this video a little bit. Instead of being out fishing and hunting, we're going to be pressure canning some raw packed sweet corn. You see here I'm setting my oven to 220 degrees. I'm going to put my jars in there for two reasons. One, the recipe calls to start with hot jars, hot water, and plus it's another good sanitization step to make sure you kill all the germs. Got my jars coming out of the dishwasher cycle, sanitizing cycle. I'm gonna put them on this rack, stick them in the oven. Now we're getting out our canner. We got a 16-quart Presto. Make sure you put your little stand in the bottom to help push the jars. Ours calls for 3 quarts of water. Do whatever yours says. We're going to come in with a little splash of white vinegar. That's to keep your jars from fogging up. Some people use it, some people don't. Got another pretty large stock pot here full of water. That's going to be the water that goes into the corn. Got a small pot for our flats. We're turning off our burners on here. The flats you don't have to boil anymore. I still do. I don't see why not. It's not going to hurt anything. So I got all three of the pots heating up. All right, we got our measure bubbler ready. Got our flat magnet. We got our jar funnel here. Excuse me while I try to work with one hand. Just showing you some of the stuff we're going to need. We got our rings. We got our flats. We got our jar lifter. Notice I've got a towel down to set the jars on. Got a paper towel we'll use later. We'll get to that later. A couple of coffee cups. I'm going to use one to dip water, one to dip corn, and some clean rags on standby. You can't be too clean. Keep everything clean. Of course, we got our weight, lid weight. We got the 3-piece. If you take both rings off, that's 5 pounds. Put one ring on, that's 10 pounds. Put the other ring on, that's 15 pounds. We're going to be using 10, so we'll take one ring off. I'm going to go ahead and drop my flats in this little pot here. Like I said, you don't have to do this anymore, but I do it anyway. As soon as this water gets rolling a little bit, I'll go ahead and cut the burner off. Now here's our corn, of course. You got to have the corn. Basically, we just bought sweet corn, shucked it, silked it, cleaned it up, and cut it off the cob. Raw corn. Alright, so just a reminder in the background, we've got our flats heating up. We got our water that goes in the jars heating up. We've got the water in our canner heating up, kind of getting everything a good head start. Now's a good time to start filling our jars. Pulling the jars out of the oven. We don't blanch our corn. A lot of people do. Most people do. Really, the only thing it helps is it makes it easier to cut off the cob. So it's going to sound a little counterintuitive to put cold corn in a hot jar, but where it's a solid, not a liquid, it's not going to cause you any grief. So you see we're using our funnel, filling these up to about 1 inch of headspace, and you do not want to tight pack raw corn because it's going to expand when you can it, and your jars could explode. It has happened in the past. Most people freeze corn for that reason, but we don't. We go ahead and can it. You can see here I'm going to just barely pack it down just below the threads of the jar here a little bit, just lightly. I figure anything you can keep out of the freezer saves space, and you don't have to worry about it if the power goes out. Alright, now we're going to come in with our boiling water, and we're going to fill that up to the same level as the corn is. You can see the towel I got down protects the jars and also catches all the messes that I make as I spill stuff. Get our last one filled up here. Now we'll use our bubbler tool. Just kind of poke it down in there in random areas, and what that's going to do is it's going to remove any air bubbles. The air bubbles could harbor bacteria, so you want to get those out. As you do that, they'll come to the top. Also, what that's going to do is that's going to make your water level go down, so you're going to want to come back in and refill up to your inch of headspace. Now we're going to take the vinegar again. We're going to put it on our paper towel, our mystery paper towel, and then we're going to clean the tops of our jar mouths off. Make sure we got a clean surface for the seal to adhere to. Now we're going to use our magnet, go over and fish our flats out. Put them in place. Then we're going to get our rings, put them on finger tight only. Do not over tighten your rings, because you could cause your flats to buckle, among other things. Alright, now we're going to set them in. Ours hold 7 quarts or 10 pints. Unless they're wide mouth pints, that only holds 8. These lids are cool enough. I can handle without a glove. Probably should be wearing one. But you know how it is. So we're going to get all 7 quarts put in there. Always inspect your seal. Make sure it's in good shape. It's in the right place. We'll lock our lid down. Now I'll start out on high. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to wait for our cover lock to pop up. So now it's just a patience game. Canning, you got to have a lot of patience. Okay, after several minutes you can hear it starting to heat up and boil in there. And you see our little cover lock's getting nervous. It's about to pop up. There it is. So now the cover's sealed up. The only place for the air to come out now is through the stem where the weight sits. You see there, I'm trying to show you the steam coming out. What you want to do at this point is you want that steam to be a steady flow. Once it becomes a steady flow with no breaks in it, you want to wait 10 minutes before you put your weight on. Alright, 10 minutes or so later, we got a good hard steady steam coming out. I'm going to drop our weight on. With my stove, I leave the burner on high at this point until I get up to about 10 pounds or so, and then I'll turn it down to medium. Then I'll adjust from there as I go. Every stove's different. You just have to figure out what works for yours. After a few minutes, we're up close to 10 pounds, so I'm going to start backing my heat off a little bit, try not to overshoot things. Wait a couple more minutes. You can see we're almost to 11. You can see and hear the weight starting to shake and relieve a little pressure. I'm going to back my temperature down just a little bit more. Now we're right on 11. We've got a little light, steady jiggle. Now we're going to set our timer. So for corn, you're going to do 11 pounds of pressure. Quarts are 85 minutes. If you're doing pints, you do those for 55 minutes. So now we wait again. Alright, so our 85 minutes are up. We're going to turn the burner off and walk away. Very, very important. Do not move the canner from the burner. Do not move the weight. Let this thing naturally cool down and depressurize. If not, that rapid change in pressure and temperature will literally cause your water to siphon out of the jar. And obviously you do not want that. You got to be patient and allow that cover lock to fall on its own. Once your cover lock falls, take your weight off. Then we're going to remove the lid. Always remove the lid away from you. It's still super hot in there. You don't want that steam in your face. And of course my microwave's in the way. Now we're going to get our jar lifters. Easily pull them out one at a time. Stack them over on another towel just to help protect the jar. Get them all out here, guys. At this point, let all these sit here undisturbed. Oh, the one already popped. Let them sit undisturbed for 24 to 48 hours, and then store them in the coolest, driest place you have in your house. They'll be good for years. Some people will remove the rings. Some people don't. That's a preference. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video and learned something. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.